Good evening, children. Today we shall discuss about the devices or the instrument that are being used to measure the air pressure, uh, rainfall, direction of wind, and also the velocity of wind. Along with that, we'll also discuss about we'll also discuss about humidity and rainfall, and water vapor present in the atmosphere leads to formation of different elements such as dew, fog, mist, those things. We'll also discuss about cyclone and its effect, and lastly we'll discuss about jet stream. So starting with barometer. So a barometer is a device that is used for measuring the air pressure or the atmospheric pressure of a place. Now this instrument, barometer, also helps in forecasting weather. Now how it's that? Now a low atmospheric pressure at a given time is an indication that a strong wind from a nearby area may blow into the region where there is low pressure in the form of windstorm, and that's how it helps in forecasting weather. Then rain gauge, I think I have already told you all to make it. So it is a device that is being used to measure the amount of rainfall in a particular place. And at present, the heaviest rainfall recorded in the entire world is in our country. That is a place called Mawsynram in Meghalaya. Then wind vane. Now wind vane is also commonly known as weathercock. Now this device, wind vane, is for it shows the direction of the wind, from which direction the wind is blowing or towards which direction the wind is blowing. Then anemometer. Now it's a device that is used for measuring wind velocity. That means to measure the speed of the wind. Now winds are very fast blowing thing, like it can blow for at a speed of even 600 kilometer per hour, and such wind can be very destructive. Now, as we have discussed earlier, that humidity and rainfall, now these are important elements of weather and climate. Now what is humidity? Now humidity means or refers to the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. And at present, if you see, we are experiencing humid weather because it's rainy season though, but most of the time in the daytime we feel a lot of our face and all quite damp, and that's because the air contains already lots of water vapor, and when we sweat it cannot be pulled or it cannot be absorbed by the air, but because it already contains a lot of water vapor, and that's when we call it as humid weather. Now in the absence of humidity, what would have happened? So if there would have been no humidity, then there would have been no rainfall. So rainfall is possible because of humidity. Then condensation of water That is, what do you mean by condensation of water? That is change of water from one state to another, that is from gas to liquid. So water vapor is a kind of gas. When it goes up, it cools down, that is condensation, and those water vapor changes into tiny droplets of water into liquid, and then they fall down in the form of rain. Now these water vapor present in the atmosphere leads to formation of dew, fog, mist, frost, cloud, and rainfall. Now the first that we'll discuss is dew. Now dew or dews is a tiny droplets of water that condense on surface of grass or leaves or flowers, or even window panes, or the vehicles which are being left out in the in the open area, or in those glasses and all. So what happens actually, after the sunset, the land cools down very quickly on a cold and calm night, and then when the warm moist air means hemeka in Assamese we call that. So when the warm moist air comes in contact with the cold land, then the temperature falls below the dew point. Now what is dew point? So actually dew point is a temperature. You cannot measure that with 1 degree, 2 degree. It's not like that. So actually dew point is a temperature. It can be anything. At some places dew point can be 16, some places it can be 5, some places it can be 20. So dew point actually is a temperature at which the air is saturated, that is completely filled with water, and that means it has the highest amount of water vapor in it, that is called or known as saturated air. So dew point is a temperature at which the air is saturated. So when the warm moist air comes in contact with the cold land, then the temperature falls below the dew point, and that's where dewdrops are formed, and it remains there the whole evening and the night, and the next day when the sun appears or comes out, these dewdrops disappears. Then the next is fog. Now fog is formed when condensation takes place at a lower region of the atmosphere that is very close to the earth's surface, or in fact above the water bodies such as river or lake or ocean. And fog makes visibility difficult. Now next is mist. In fact, mist and fog are formed in a similar manner. The only difference is that the droplets in case of mist are large and are quite far away from each other, but in case of fog the droplets are smaller and very dense and thick. So mist is similar to fog, and it is formed by the condensation of water vapor near the earth's surface. Then frost. So frost is formed just the way the dew are formed, but thing is that dew are formed when the temperature falls down below the dew point, but frost is formed when the temperature goes down below the freezing point. We know the freezing point is what? 0 degrees Celsius. So when the temperature or water vapor condense in the form of tiny ice, so frost may be called the frozen dew. Then clouds. So clouds are very tiny droplets of water floating above the surface of the earth. So when the sun's heat evaporates the water bodies on the earth, so they rise up along with the air as in the form of water vapor. These water vapor travels up, and then as they go up, because at a higher altitude the temperature is less, and then they come in contact with the cool air, and these water vapor then condense and then turn into tiny droplets of water, and they form cloud. And the last one, rain. When these cloud could no longer hold the tiny droplets of water, they fall down in the form of precipitation, that is known as rainfall. And then they fall down where? In the ocean, in the river, in the land, and thing again, and this thing again keeps on or goes on and on, this process. Again the sunlight falls on the earth, evaporates the water, goes up, comes down. So this is the water cycle. Now the next thing that we'll learn is cyclone. A cyclone is actually a small low pressure system with wind blowing anti-clockwise in northern hemisphere and clockwise in southern hemisphere. Now why anti-clockwise in northern and clockwise in southern hemisphere? This I would have been able to explain it more better to you all with a chalk and board, but since we don't have that, so I'll send you a link on that particular day or later on, so that you can understand better why clockwise and anti-clockwise in these two different hemispheres. And cyclones are roughly circular or oval in the form, so they are always oval, that is round when they come. So cyclones originate as a wave along a front, and remember one thing, cyclone always originates in the water body, above the water body or in ocean or sea, and they travel to in a definite direction towards land, and once they reach the land they become weak. They are more stronger when they are in the water, and cyclone are mostly accompanied with thunderstorm and rain. And cyclone follows the direction of a regular wind system in a particular area. And then tropical cyclones that develops over the oceans, as I have told you that in oceans cyclones are very strong. So tropical cyclones developing or that develops over the ocean causes more damage to life and property. So this is the main effect of cyclone. So what is the bad effect, if you say? So cyclone, the effect of cyclone is it leads to destructions of life and properties. And cyclones are called by different names at different places. For example, in China, Japan, or Southeast Asian countries, in China, Japan and all, cyclones are known as typhoons. Then in West Indies, cyclones are known as hurricanes. In USA and Canada, cyclones are known as tornado. Then the anticyclone. Now anticyclones are not very strong, in other words, so they do not move in a definite direction also. They move very slowly, and slowly or gradually they even disperse or disappear, and very little rainfall is accompanied in anticyclone. Then the last thing that we'll discuss is jet streams. Now jet streams are very strong wind that blows from west to east at a height of 9,000 meter to 15,000 meter. That's 9 kilometer to 15 kilometer above the earth's surface they blow, and the direction is from west to east at a speed of about 650 kilometer per hour. Just imagine the speed. Now since they blow very high up in the altitude, so pilots, so they use the jet stream for their benefits. Like if any aeroplane fly with the jet stream or along the jet stream, then it benefits them. How? So it saves time and also it saves fuel. So this is the two advantage of jet stream for pilots. So this chapter is over. As I have told you earlier, multiple choices and question answers, you have to do it by yourself. Question answers, I think I gave you few homework in the last class, and the rest I shall do it for you and give it to you later on. Thank you.